presentation on copyright and using novels in the classroom. Now this presentation is going to be about the additional technology that we use in the classroom when it comes to using novels, such as using audiobooks and posting information related to the novel on online classrooms. Now the online classroom that my district uses and that I'm familiar with is Canvas. So I'll be referencing that classroom in this presentation. One important distinction we need to make is the difference between copyright and fair use. Copyright is the person that or the entity that owns a specific work and is the person or entity that can control who can use it. That would be the person that you would need to contact to see if you can have permission to use something in the classroom or for business use. Fair use, however, is the legal ability to use an item under special circumstances, such as in the classroom. And under those special circumstances, you don't have to get permission from the copyright or pay for the copyright. But again, it's special circumstances, so we have to be very careful about this. What determines fair use? Well, first of all, the burden of determining fair use is on the individual. So as a teacher, we need to be asking ourselves these questions whenever we use stuff in our classroom or if we post it online or give it to students. Because if we get caught or if we get prosecuted, we're the ones that have to prove that it was fair use. So, for a novel, the first question is, was it legally purchased? Do I have a copy of it that I have paid money for or the district has paid money for? If so, then yes, it's under fair use. Is it pertinent to the standards? Is there a standard that it relates to, or am I just using it just because I feel like using it? If it's pertinent to a standard, if it's being used to meet a standard, then it is under fair use. Are there copies for every student in the classroom? If there are, if you have a class set of a book, then that falls under fair use because, again, you've legally purchased it or the county has legally purchased it. Is the access limited to students? So if you have a class set, you can't loan it out for a book club or it has to just be limited to students. At the bottom, you'll see that there is a link that I have included. I got these questions from a fair use checklist that the University System of Georgia put out, and it was a very helpful tool for me, and I know that I'll be referencing a lot in the future. So if you have further questions, that's a great tool to use. Now, what is not covered under fair use? Anything that is not legally obtained. So, if you pull a PDF copy of a novel from the internet, sorry, but that's not under fair use. Anything that you profit from. So, if you try to turn around and sell portions of a book on Teachers Pay Teachers, that's not covered. Because again, copyright makes sure that whoever owns that media gets paid for it. So that's their way of making money, and you always get in big trouble if you keep somebody else from making money on something that they legally own. You can't copy large portions of novels. I don't know what teacher would, because we know that paper is like gold in the school classroom, but you can't copy large portions of novels. That doesn't fall under fair use. Entertainment, you cannot use a book or any other copyrighted item simply for entertainment. That doesn't fall under fair use. And again, remember, the burden of proof is on the individual. So anytime you use something in your classroom, be thinking about that. So 3 scenarios that we often see in relation to using novels in the classroom, and it's typically the language arts classroom, where we might have to think about whether or not something falls under fair use. Number 1. A teacher wants to play an audio version of a novel as students follow along. In my classroom, it's The Giver and The Hobbit. I have audio versions of both of those books, and I like to play the audio version for students who have low Lexile scores. Does that fall under fair use? And the answer is yes, as long as the following conditions are met. The audiobook was purchased legally. I purchased my copies through Audible, which is owned by Amazon. I make sure that the audiobook will only be used in the classroom. I can't have a book club and just play it for my book club. That wouldn't fall under fair use. I have to make sure it's instructional. I can't just play an audiobook just because I feel like playing an audiobook. I have to make sure that it's instructional. Next example. A teacher wants to show a movie version of the novel her students have been reading so that her students can compare the novel to the movie. And below I've listed the specific standard that talks about comparing and contrasting a movie to the novel. And yes, that does fall under fair use as long as the following conditions are met. It has to cover standards specifically. I put several because it can cover several depending upon what you do with it. It has to be you have to make sure that's only used in the classroom. And the video was legally obtained. Again, I have to have a legal copy of it. I can't just pull a copy from YouTube. Just because it's on YouTube doesn't mean it's legal. The video is not simply used as entertainment or reward. Just because it's in a classroom doesn't mean you can show any video. You have to make sure, again, it covers standards and it's being used for educational purposes. Example 3. A teacher would like to post excerpts of the novel and video clips of the movie to his online classroom. This one is a tricky one. You have to be very careful about this one. The answer is yes and no. And I put that because you have to be very careful about this. Excerpts are fine as long as they were legally obtained. Again, I keep saying that because that's very important. You have to make sure that the online classroom access has to be limited to currently enrolled students. I mentioned earlier that in my classroom, in my district, we use Canvas. Canvas allows us to use passwords for both the teachers and the students to log in. So because only currently enrolled students can log in, then it falls under fair use. The videos must be legally obtained. And links to legally obtained video clips and excerpts are okay as well. That would be where you would want to, if you have YouTube videos, I would link to them rather than grabbing the clips using an app and putting them on Canvas, because linking to it covers you more than just having the video clips on your actual Canvas. You cannot put the whole movie. It has to be just small portions of it. Small portions covers you better than posting the whole movie. Now right here I have listed several good resources for researching copyright if you have any further questions. And please let me know if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to help you. And thank you for taking the time to watch my presentation.